Hello, I'm Kevin Benedict, Senior Analyst for Digital Transformation here at Cognizant, reporting live all week here from Boston's Harbor at the M Enterprise Conference. If you've had a chance to be to Boston, you probably know about the Freedom Trail. It's a red brick line that takes you from one historic location to another historic location. Along the way, you'll see brass plaques on the side of buildings saying Paul Revere's house here, or some Declaration of Independence signer lived here. There's a lot of those kind of plaques. That's the physical version of telling people where they can go to learn and see and be at certain locations. There's a digital version of that too. Google Field Trips is an application that, based on your location, so the sensor data within your smartphone, will tell you exactly where you are at and what events have happened in buildings and locations in which you're walking by. Here's the difference. You don't have to buy brass plaques. You don't have to embed a red brick trail. It's all digital. Those brass plaques aren't replaced often. They're going to have like 3 sentences at most on that plaque. But in a digital environment, not only can you connect that to massive databases of information on that location, so with Field Trips, seriously, you're walking along, it brings up a notice on your smartphone and says, you just passed Paul Revere's house. Here's the entire history of events there, given, provided by a number of different databases. So it can be dynamic. It can even show you real-time information in a digital environment. It can say, here's the foot traffic that goes by that location. Here's other events that didn't just happen when Paul Revere lived here, but here's who lived in that house over the last 200 years since. Here's the accidents that happened in front of the street for people, involving people that were reading the plaque. I'm here in Boston all week. Matter of fact, I'm down here in the Boston Wharf area. Seaport Hotel is where the event is. The event, M Enterprise. It's all about enterprise mobility this week. I have the privilege of being here, of interviewing mobile experts and speaking at this event. And you know, what's really interesting to me is that I'm completely surrounded by construction cranes and hard hats. This whole area, Boston Wharf area, is being transformed. As a matter of fact, it's not far from the airport. It's between the airport and downtown. You know, just like this area is being transformed, digital transformation is happening all around us in almost every industry today. It's being pushed by a mobile-centric approach to a market where people go first to their mobile phones and mobile applications for the information they need for shopping, for experiences, for research, all of that. How does your company align itself to address those new trends? Digital transformation is not just about enterprise mobility and mobile apps. It's also about the Internet of Things, or the industrial internet. Behind me, there's a lot of construction equipment. More and more today, the construction and engineering and development industry is full of connected sensors. Sensors on the vehicles. Matter of fact, behind me, you can hear the beep, beep, beep of a construction vehicle is backing up. That's a sensor. Oftentimes, that sensor information can also be sending wireless information up to a server that's marking the direction and movement of all the vehicles. Theft is a big issue on any construction site. Many of the vehicles and pieces of equipment behind us have sensors that are always notifying their location or when they start, when they stop, hours of operation. Why? It helps maintain, it helps you track the maintenance of all your equipment. Location, the usage, hour of operation, what hours of the day it's moving. Should it be moving or should it not? All of these things are example how the Internet of Things has moved into the physical world of construction engineering. Today, using 3D infrared scanners, you can take a construction site, you can scan it. That digitizes it, takes the physical environment and digitizes it. You can then overlay the imagery and you can monitor the progress of a construction project. How much concrete did we lay? Did the fences go up? How high is the building today? Is it on schedule? Is it on plan? Because it's digital, you can then associate assets with that project. How much resources are we putting into there? How much pieces of equipment? Are we on schedule? Are we on budget? All of that can be done because you're taking the physical and you're digitizing it, so then you can build algorithms around it. Internet of Things plays a role in bridges. Did you know that? You know, you can scan using infrared scanners a bridge like that and create a digital model of it exactly to the scale that you need it to. Once you have a digital representative of that bridge, you can also go to the physical bridge, attach sensors that monitor vibrations, weight loads, and just traffic even on the bridge. That is real-time feedback. It can feed into your digital model of that bridge. Algorithms could be built that says based upon certain vibration levels or usage or traffic, etc., we will adjust the maintenance schedule of your asset management or your facility management applications that monitor the conditions of all the assets here in municipal governments. That's one way, real-time sensor feedback attached to planning software, where the Internet of Things actually plays a role in bridges like the one behind me. You know, the wharf behind me, the unused, abandoned wharf, at one time was very important here on the Boston Harbor area. Today it's unused. That's called transformation. You know, digital transformation is happening all around us, which likewise is going to make objects of the past outdated and irrelevant. Is your company understanding what digital transformation is doing and what parts of your business today will soon be like the abandoned wharf behind us? One of the questions I've been pondering a lot is, what are the requirements for the Internet of Things? Are they the same as enterprise mobility from the perspective of you have remote data that's wirelessly coming in to an enterprise server? Is that the same thing? You know, this is a question I've been asking a lot of enterprise mobility people, a lot of mobile security people, a lot of mobile platform players. And the consensus is yes, it really is. Whether the data is coming from a mobile app or coming from a sensor attached to a bridge, attached to a telematics system of a truck, any of that is wireless data is coming into the enterprise and needs to be secured. It needs to be able to recognize the device is coming, the purpose of it, the maintenance of that device. So you have mobile device management. Could be either sensors or handheld devices. Also, it feeds into enterprise systems. It's real-time data used to manage operations. So yes, the Internet of Things and enterprise mobility are going to require many of the same solutions and platforms that we use today. You know, I think that some of the biggest real challenges that enterprises are facing today with the Internet of Things and the mobile-first environment and the adoption of mobile applications by just about everybody in the world is, what do you do with all the data? And not just what do you do with the data, but how do you use it effectively in a real-time environment? And therein lies one of the biggest challenges I think enterprises are going to have. How do you take all this vast quantities of data, this massive size of data that's coming in from photos, from sensors, from mobile apps, from social sentiment, to everything, and actually use it for some purpose in a real-time world? And how do you adjust your enterprise applications that are legacy, that are not designed to work in real time? How do you create a real-time environment so that your systems can actually handle that data, analyze that data, get into the hands, either in an automated fashion or into the hands of decision makers, so they can actually use it in a timely manner? Because as we all know, data has a shelf life. The biggest value data ever has is immediately after you get it. It's new, it's fresh, it's accurate. Soon, after minutes, hours, days, months go by, the data loses its value because it's not about what's actually happening at the time. So how do you ensure that your enterprise systems can in fact work fast enough to use real-time data, that can handle real-time data? How big an effort of that? That is one of the biggest questions and the subject of a lot of research I'm doing right now. What needs to change in many enterprise environments and ecosystems to in fact use real-time data and to remain competitive by doing so? I conducted recently a survey of over 80 enterprise mobility professionals. I asked them the question, what solutions on the back end in your IT environment need to change in order to effectively support a real-time environment where real-time data is coming in, so you can use that data and automate procedures and operations right back, or get it into the hands immediately of the decision makers with meaning making. Meaning it's not raw data, it actually says something to business decision makers so they can look at it and say, oh, I know exactly what I should do based upon this data. So what needs to change? Started out, they said back-end systems, ERPs, business systems that are simply not designed to process that kind of data in a real-time environment. APIs and integration technologies were another slow spot, a bottleneck, if you would, in managing real-time data. And thirdly is internet connection. Some of the recommendations from the survey participants were use in-memory databases to make the analysis and the processing of large volumes of data real-time. That's the key. How much of your enterprise IT environment is actually real-time? Or how much of it is inhibiting the flow of information? So I'm walking along Boston Wharf here, and I got to thinking to myself, how much data am I spinning off just in the course of this morning? And I think about, okay, I was in a hotel, so if I open up the minibar, there's wireless sensors inside that minibar that tell the front desk if I've eaten anything. Also, there's an electronic key on the door. So there's no more physical swiping, you just wave your key next to the door, and so it monitors my entrance and exit of that room. That's more data that's spinning off. As I walk down the Boston Wharf here, of course, my mobile phone is connected to location for weather, location for search, location for Google Maps, all of that stuff. So it knows where I'm at. I also just walked into Starbucks. I'm using a mobile application. So when I use my mobile application to pay for my drink, they know what drink I ordered in Boston. What does that tell Starbucks? It tells Starbucks I traveled. Now they know that because I've used my loyalty card, if you would, my iPhone app everywhere I go. So they can see that I'm a regular traveler. Delta Airlines, yesterday, they knew exactly where I was when I land. They welcomed me to each connecting flight. And when you're from Boise, there's a lot of connecting flights. So they know when I got there, so they know what my schedule was. All of that information is data that's spinning around. So when we look at everybody out there, the 40 million people in the United States, just alone, how much data are they spinning off? So the question then, of course, is with this code halo, all this data about me and my activities and preferences and locations and habits and lifestyles, what can vendors that I trust do with that kind of data? What kind of business services and models, knowing who I am and kind of my lifestyle and work habits, what can they offer me that will be very appealing to me? Well, I can tell you, hyper-personalization is one of those. Don't make me tell you, you know what kind of life I live. You know when I travel. You know where I go. So what can you offer me that's gonna make my life more convenient? You know, the other day I was in San Francisco and I used Uber like 4 times in 24 hours. Again, that is such an effective use of mobile technology. My mobile device told Uber where I was, where the vehicle was. I could see the rankings of the vehicle, so I could see basically social commentary on the quality of the service from that Uber driver. All of this is data. Now, what can companies use with it? The code halos around every person, building, product, piece of equipment, project, like a construction project we talked about earlier today. That's data that's flowing. What can companies do with that data to be more effective and more competitive? I'm holding an iPhone 6 in my hand. I'm one of the lucky ones. My wife and I were able to get one right away, but our kids, our son and daughter, they're struggling with envy because mom and dad have an iPhone 6. They haven't been able to find a store that has them. iPhone 6 comes with a lot of really cool stuff. You know, I've been walking around here in Boston today filming little vignettes, little video clips, and a lot of the screen is stabilized through software, which is new and advanced stabilization software is available here from Apple. In addition, there's something within the iOS 8 called HomeKit. HomeKit allows you to connect the Internet of Things, all kinds of different monitoring, security, home automation systems, so that you can connect that to your phone and be able to control and see information in real time from your home. You get the same thing with a health platform in iOS 8. Allows you to monitor all kinds of wireless electronic sensors that you can apply to your body for all kinds of chronic illnesses, and to monitor just conditions and all kinds of things that companies are coming out with today. In addition, there's something called activity monitoring. Activity monitoring is a platform in iOS 8 that allows applications to know when you're standing, when you're walking, when you're running, all kinds of really cool stuff. Vast amounts of data can come off those 3 platforms alone. In addition, you know, the sensors within the phone are capturing location, they're capturing time and date and all kinds of stuff. So the question I have for you is, what's your company doing with that data? At Cognizant, we call that code halos. In fact, there's a stellar book on that subject called Code Halos, available on Amazon. And in that book, it says code halos are the code of data that surrounds each of us, other objects, equipment, organizations, etc. All the data, historic data, preference data, activity data about something. And the amount of data that is spinning off each of us in one day is massive. We're seeing companies everywhere, in fact, create new products and services that utilize this data. And if you're not doing it today, I would really invite you to take a look at what your competition's doing, what startups are doing, all with data today, and learn from them quickly, because their disruption is coming to just about every industry because of this.